As soon as... Good evening to Sign, just mentioned him there in the chat. And Senna as well. As we load in.
Ooh, this will be good, thumbs up.
As we load in to the first of the 5 lappers, it's Wet Imola. As you can see. Just 3 on the grid. And the final 4 will take part in the final next Tuesday to determine the winner. Senna says roll out the red carpet. I think that might be a reference to a chat post in Discord yesterday during an argument. Good evening, Bazza, in the chat as well. I do read all the comments in the Discord. With each league, it was kicking off in the chat under a safety car in Blobby Monday yesterday.
Evening blog. Good
evening, Adkins, in the chat. And we are away for the first race. And Colin gets away from pole position. It is intermediate tyres, I think. Well, actually, need to put that up. There, yep, it is intermediate tyres. And Colin leads round the first couple of corners from Smug and Sloth. Colin with a decent getaway. Smug closes up now, though. And Sloth at the rear. 5 lap races, remember these. Not a lot of margin for error. And the total race times will be taken into consideration of the winners when they determine the final grid order for the grand final first race. Wide there goes Smug. And Colin has managed to almost break out a second clear. And Sloth is trailing behind now by a second and a half. So the fastest lap goes to Colin off the grid. No DRS in the wet conditions. Smug bumping over the curbs a little bit too much there. Losing a little bit more time to Colin, who has led from the outset. Genty's in the chat asking if Mr. Pickle has cheered up yet. And Mr. Pickle.
Whatever life throws at you, laugh through it with comedy on Audible.
This is you on your first day as a teacher. This is a class you'll inspire. This is a lesson you'll learn from her and them.
And this is a day we forget.
These are all the lives you'll shape. This is the one you'll shape the most. Search Get Into Teaching.
Meet Darren. Darren never used to like the motorway. Then one day, he discovered a better way. Now Darren never hogs the middle lane, and always keeps at least 2 seconds from the vehicle in front, reducing congestion, collisions and transforming his journey. Take it away, Darren.
What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. Say it again now.
Little changes change everything. National Highways.
The Chicken Big Mac is back, but only for a limited time. So don't regret it. Get it. Order one today. Disappears 28th of May.
What's that coming through something? Oh, that's just a notification for the stream being live. We are live on Blobby_Butler on Twitch and Kick. You need to change the underscore to a dash on Kick because Kick's a bit dodgy like that for some reason. Don't ask me. I'll be getting rid of the underscore as soon as I work out how I can change the name. And of course on Dynamic Racing League UK as well. But you might be getting adverts on there. So the answer to that one is come over and subscribe on my channel and then you don't get any adverts. Also follow on Kick because I'm getting rid of the adverts once I get to 75 followers and enable subscribers on Kick. There'll be no more Twitch ads once that happens. Smug set the fastest lap but is still over a second behind on lap 4 of 5 now. But he's closing a bit. And we could be in for a grandstand finish. Colin just having to manage it a little bit as Smug begins to close the gap. But not many laps left. Excuse me. As Colin now comes round the last couple of corners and will start the final lap. Neither of them breaking the fastest lap that time. And Smug's just dropped back again by a little way, so it looks like it's going to be grid order for this first race. But Smug with the bonus points at the moment for fastest lap. He's tailed right away. On this final lap. Colin just had a bit of extra pace in reserve, I think. So Colin then, a good last lap from him in relation to his opponents anyway. And is he going to take that fastest lap point from Smug as well? Towards the line. He does! Colin wins and takes the fastest lap. Oh, and Smug's driven straight into the back of Colin after the race has finished. So says the AI controls. So Colin is your winner of the first race and takes the fastest lap. Smug in second and Sloth comes home in third. One down. 2 more to go for these drivers. And then we do it all again with 3 brand new drivers. Well, not brand new drivers, but you know what I mean. The other semi-final. I'm at the sweets again. There you have it, a 124.0 there for Colin. Our maximum points with Smug in second and Sloth in third. Sloth says he's happy with the podium. This sounds a lot like me with the social play lobbies. Simon will be able to tell you that where there were 3 or 4 of us in and I was just desperately trying to finish because I was so far off the pace. So they'll just update this to the next race now. Which is China. Joker, Senna and Simon there in the chat showing appreciation for Colin. One more sweet before we get this one going. As a bit of a bonus, after we're done here, I'll be doing a little Fortnite stream with Megs and possibly George. Get those final quests completed before the end of the season this week. It'll be my last go before the end of the season, so time to get questing. Just a few weekly quests left to do. Done quite well with the story modes this time round. Mainly with help from George again, of course. So tune in if seeing some children shout at me is your idea of fun, then tune in later on. Because that's usually what happens on Fortnite. Can confirm I'll be rejoining Baker's League for the new season on the new game. Join him on Thursday. 5 lights are out in China and we are underway again. This time Sloth got a better start, but it's still going to be in the order they started around the first corner. Colin from Smug and Sloth. Colin and Smug, of course, no strangers this season as they battle for the Pro-Am title that Sloth won last season.
Special guest Stacey face with tears of joy. Special guest Stacey face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy.
I am assuming Stacey means the Fortnite stream later on. Always welcome to be a special
I've
guest.
done it twice, sorry.
Always nice. Always welcome to be a special guest, you know that. So still in the same order then. But Sloth might look for a run down the straight on Smug here.
Fortnite was a delay TBF.
This one might see some more overtaking this race because we will have some DRS. If they stay this close together. Colin has made it round the first lap in front. But the other two are right on his tail. Smug trying to go round the inside. Colin shuts the door. Smug really going for it on Colin now. He knows he's got to get some kind of result in this race. And he's going to go up the inside. But he couldn't make it stick. And now Sloth might try to pick the bones. All three in line here. And Smug goes for the inside again. And Colin switches him back. Sloth's going to try and go around the long way now. And into the straight they come. And now Sloth's on the outside of Smug. So I try to read the chat at the same time. Where Senna wants to make me Prime Minister. No idea why. I wouldn't mind the pension they get, but there you go. Probably won't make it to pension age anyway. DRS enabled then. And all three of them within a second. So it might become a little bit more difficult to defend. Smug has got to pick his moment. He's got to pick his moment. If Colin can win two in a row, then surely he's home and hosed. Well, not quite, but barring any major accidents. Sloth is still there as well. Just in case Smug and Colin make mistakes or take each other out. You can see now, you'll see the DRS and you'll see how powerful it is in closing the gap. But Smug's too far back to make a lunge up the inside of Colin on this occasion. And had a wobble on the exit, which isn't going to help. And Colin is going to start lap 4 in front, just 2 laps to go. Colin, fastest lap of the race once again. Can they get to him? At the moment, Colin just holding over half a second gap. Just enough to negate that DRS power. But Smug will still hope to get a run on him down that main back straight. Or perhaps the start-finish straight into turn 1. Those are the two main places for overtaking. And at the moment, it's more likely that Smug is overtaken than overtakes, judging by the distances as we look back to Sloth. Colin fastest lap again. As he starts the final lap of the race, it looks like it's going to be 2 wins from 2 for Colin. But as we saw in the main race last night, anything can happen on the final lap. Smug a little bit wide there. Maybe a wheel on the grass. Sloth pushing him all the way. A good close race this. They're all within a second all the way at the moment. Smug won't give up. Still got that one more opportunity down that back straight. If he can get close enough, or if Sloth can get close enough, there might be a chance here. But Smug will have DRS in order to defend. Or will he? Has he just dropped out of DRS range? I think he has. And I think Smug... No, in fact, Smug does have the DRS. But Sloth has passed him anyway. Smug goes for the dive. Up the inside. Sloth very respectfully left him a lot of room to do that. Colin is going to come across the line and win once again. Ahead of Smug and Sloth. I think Colin kept the fastest lap. I will check that. But it's 2 wins from 2 for Colin. And it is another fastest lap for him as well. Very closely matched in that race, the 3 of them. But Colin takes maximum points again. As we head to Miami for the last race of this semi-final. So Colin will be hit on 52 points, Smug 636, and Sloth on 30. So Sloth needs a win coupled with a Colin DNF. Smug on 36 also needs a win coupled with a Colin DNF. I think Colin just needs to get to the end and he cannot be overtaken on 67 points. So Colin just needs to get round to make his way into the final. But of course his race time is all important in terms of the grid order for the final. Now, Miami in the sunshine, or is it the night it's supposed to be? I'm not entirely sure. I haven't read my notes again. But I believe Colin now just has to get to the end. I'm sure Swanton will be in the chat to confirm that shortly. as we prepare for this last race of the first of tonight's semi-finals. Don't forget, 3 more drivers will be joining us to do it all again, to see who joins Joker and Syme in next Tuesday's grand final. So we end this one in Miami. Can Colin make it a clean sweep? Oops. Just to let you know, the other semi-final today, see Swanton joined by 50 Gent and King Kong to battle it out for the final place in the final. And the top 4 will be back with us next Tuesday. Don't forget, we've got a DRS race on Monday as usual. 5 lights and away. I've got no user interface for some reason. Here we go. And Smug on the inside couldn't get past Colin off the line. Again. And Colin leads them through sector 1 from Smug and Sloth. Let's see if this one stays as close as the previous race. Again, DRS very strong here, so expect possible overtaking, especially down this very long back straight after the tricky slow chicane section. Bit of a wobble from Colin there, and a bigger one from Sloth. Just trying to get the foot down early there. Smug a bit later on the brakes and went deep, and a big lock up, and that's going to give Colin a bit of a gap and encourage Sloth to try and challenge Smug. Colin 1.5 seconds up the road now. Sloth and Smug looks to be where the battle is. And Smug with his work cut out now to try and get to Colin. I think he's going to be relying on a mistake from the Hash driver. Colin has made great use of the pole position, and he'll be hoping for that again in the final, because he did have the quickest race time after the first race. That's the last update I've received from Swanton in the chat. Sloth pulls to the inside to make the move on Smug, and it's going to be P2 for the Mercedes. Smug might come back up his inside though. Thought about it. That's Sloth up to P2, but a full 2 seconds behind Colin, who's just banged in another fastest lap. As DRS is enabled, and Smarga's hit Sloth. Smarga's hit Sloth, and he's broken his front wing. Sloth is now trying to get going again without hitting the pit wall. Did Sloth pick up any damage? It doesn't look like he did. A piece of Smug's front wing definitely flew off. And Colin is happily driving off into the distance and looking set for maximum points in this semi-final. The only person who can stop Colin now is Colin. He's just got to keep it clean, keep it on the road for the next couple of laps after this one, and he will be into the grand final. Smug is cruising. I think he might be wanting to let Sloth back through, or he might be just going slowly because of the broken front wing. But Sloth goes to the inside and does retake P2. Smug will continue. And will be P2 overall with a 2-2-3 as opposed to a 3-3-2. If it stays the same, which it seemingly looks as it will. Colin then midway through the penultimate lap and has a really nice gap on his two rivals. Neither of whom are going to be troubling his fastest lap time either, I don't think. So there it is, 1:29.8 for Colin as he starts his final lap. And it's going to be maximum points for Colin. Sloth there a couple of seconds slower on that lap. And Smug dropping back. He's got obviously the broken wing and is now running much slower. So an antithesis of the close race of China here in Miami, but as Swanton says, time will be key. So Colin needs to keep pushing because this will affect his grid place in the grand final. And as you've seen today, pole position can make all the difference. Thanks to Senna in the chat for that nice comment. Much appreciated. Colin then up towards the line and wins 3 out of 3 and a time of 7:33.058. I have no idea what that means, but Swanton will tell us shortly. Sloth is going to come home for P2 in this one, and Smug will bring it home in P3. There you have it. So Colin, maximum points. He's in the final. Let's see. Indeed, superb. 3 race wins, 3 fastest laps. Record. What a Pro-Am, says Senna. As one who progressed through the Pro-Am ranks himself. There you have confirmation. Colin will be your finalist from this semi-final. He joins Syme and Joker in the grand final next Tuesday. We've got one more finalist to decide. Stay tuned, folks. I'm not going to break stream. We're going to carry on while the lobby gets sorted out. And it is the turn of Swanton, 50 Gent and King Kong. Colin, 22 minutes 34. Syme, 22 minutes 39. And Joker, 22 minutes 40. So provisionally, Colin has the advantage. But of course, Swanton, 50 and King Kong, they've now got to have their say. And the winner of that semi-final will be joining those 3 in the final, and their race time will determine where on the grid they will start the first race. I think still to be confirmed what races we have in that grand final. Smug will now go to spectator, and Swanton will go to being in a car. And then the other 2 will be invited in. I think that's Kong and 50. Let me just make sure I read that right. Yep, 50 and Kong. I think I can do that, actually. No, Kong's not added me. Look at that. And 50's already coming in. Why is Mr. Kong not adding me? That's terrible. Unless I missed him. Mansis is online. There's a name from the past in DRS. And Dangerous Dave as well. A few others on my list. There he is, King Kong's in. Let's add him while I'm there. Got Swanton at 50 added already, so I might as well. So we go again. Swanton has pole position, and on his record does go in as favourite. But as we saw last week, well, I didn't see, but those tuning in to the previous semi-finals saw last week, being the favourite means absolutely nothing. We've lost Buddy's Vengeance, Senna, Max, Joker providing the real upset of the semi-finals. So let's see what happens as we go back to Imola in the rain. Swanton, King Kong and 50 Gent. Of course, not only about winning, It's also about setting the best overall race time. For the grid next week in the grand final. Details still to be announced of what races, how many races, etc. I think it may still be 3. It may be extended to some more because it's the final. Who knows? We did offer the chance in the Discord yesterday to extend the final race of Blobby Mondays to a full quali or a full race, but that seems to have been denied. We'll see how the new game behaves itself. Maybe going back to the reverse grid sprint format if it's not going to cause too many incidents. That's all up in the air at the moment. Look out in June on Mondays after DRS for some F124 social play tour events to warm up on the new game. Whether I'm racing or commentating on those will depend on numbers. I won't do comms if there's only a couple of people in, but I will if there's 10 or so. Good warm-ups for the new game. I am back in Baker's League next season on a Wednesday. And do join Baker on Thursday this week over on Kick, because he will be doing the teams and the game giveaway. So if you haven't already, get a gifted sub in and you'll be on the wheel to get the game for free. Hopefully I get a good teammate, as in Blobby Monday Series 1, where Champion Noodles carried me to Constructors' Championship success. Blobby Monday's finale is in 2 weeks at Suzuka. This Monday with a bank holiday. We do still have a DRS race at 8 PM. And I may do a fortnight filler afterwards on Monday. We shall see. As I'm in Glasgow for the final weekend of the season for the Scottish Cup final. So we've got Joker and Senna cheering on Kong. We've got now Joker wants to cheer on 50 as well for the underdog movement, as he calls it. They are away. And Swanton got away quite well. .50 lagging behind a little bit, and King Kong trying to keep Swanton honest with the first sector. It is intermediate tyres. And wide went King Kong there. And that's just giving Swanton a bit of breathing space as they struggle for some grip on this wet surface. And King Kong has picked up a penalty, and that is really going to harm him. A 2-second penalty for track limits. And that is really going to hurt his chances early on. Sloth in the chat says his tyres were slashed, apparently. And Senna reminding 50 that he is not Swanton's teammate tonight. So it is Swanton from King Kong and 50. King Kong's got to try and get 2 seconds away from 50 now with that penalty. He's got 1.3 at the moment, as you can see. As he tries to keep with Swanton. Of course, no DRS in the rain. Kong took that quite well. Took a little bit of time back out of Swanton through Aqua Minerale. He's got to be careful with his track limits though, of course, having already picked up a 2-second penalty on the first lap. Kong now sets the fastest lap though. As he tries to keep with Swanton and maybe pressure him into a mistake. But now drops to a second behind. Crucially 50, now 2 seconds behind King Kong. So at the moment the penalty will not mean anything, though 50 has just closed that gap back up a little. So that's given the McLaren something to aim at if he can't keep pace with the other two completely. Swanton has now increased to 1.5 seconds and is set in purple sectors. I think he's going to be on for a fastest lap here. And indeed he is a 1:25.5. Swanton looks to have this one well and truly in hand. $50 now 2.5 seconds back from Kong. Needs to close that gap back to 2 seconds, or hope that Kong is going to make another mistake with track limit penalty. The gap now 2 seconds from Swanton back to King Kong. And make that even more, as Kong made a mistake there, I think, because suddenly 50 is almost within 1 second of him. So a bit of a mistake from King Kong, who's now got work to do to try and regain that 2 second gap back to the McLaren. Swanton sets the fastest lap once again, 1:25.4 this time. And the real now question is whether 50 Gent can stay within that 2 seconds or not, because it's very tight. Bit of bumping over the curb there for 50, but he's taken his best sector 1. And closes that gap within 2 again. This is going to be very close indeed with that penalty. Kong ekes out a couple of tenths. And now a bit more. Purple sector 2 for Kong, and that's going to make the difference. Around the last couple of corners they come. And it's going to be an opening win for Swanton with a 1:24.9 for his final lap. King Kong will come home in the end with a second to spare after a good last lap ahead of 50 Gent, who just couldn't keep up in the end. Hello to Colin in the chat, and congratulations on your victory this evening. A couple of sweeties in between race. If I could put the lid back on, that would be very helpful. So there we have it, Swanton taking the first race ahead of King Kong and 50 Gent. So now to China. The virtual carbon footprint of this tournament is absolutely huge. In real life, the organisers would be getting some stick. 3 races on different continents. Following on from a DRS warm-up idea last summer, when the new game came out, we'll be doing similar kind of tour events on Monday nights after DRS races in June, where we might group 3 races together, such as the 3 USA races, or 3 in the desert, or 3 in Europe, etc. Far East, perhaps, China, Singapore, and Japan. No official word yet, but it appears that France and Portugal might not be included anymore. And just the 24 tracks that are actually this season. I personally hope they go the other way and start bringing out some legacy tracks, as I'd love to do Valencia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Hockenheim, etc. Hello to Megs in the chat, and she wants me to give a shout out to Madison. So hello Madison, how are you? I will see you tomorrow. There you go, Madison's been watching, so hello Madison. Hope you're good, and I'll see you tomorrow. How's that, Megs? Megs will be joining me on Fortnite later on. Genty, I know exactly how you feel, sir. I was saying similar things on my last social lobby, where Syme and Baker were absolutely smoking me into the distance. Just sometimes the pace just goes and you just need to stick with it. Two more races to go and anything can happen. We go to China next. I echo what they are all saying in the chat. Just got to stick with it when it becomes difficult. I'm the first one to say I should stick to the commentary box rather than the actual game, but then why pay 75 quid or whatever it is for the Champions Edition if you're just going to sit and do comms all day? Got to try at least. So that's why I've rejoined Baker's League myself. And I'm quite looking forward to the new game because it's always a little bit of a change. I found that the transition from 22 to 23 actually helped me. So, you never know. Anyway, on to China now. Just open the water. Can Swanton follow in Collins' footsteps and get a perfect treble? He's got leg one of it. Let's see if he can make it another one. Here we go. 5 lights. Out they go. Bit of a pause and away they go. And this time Kong is not going to make a dive up the inside. With DRS again this time, it might be a bit more easy to overtake. But we shall see. Kong close in behind Swanton from the start. And very close in there. But then goes over the curb a little bit there. And that might cost him a tenth or two. Swanton, of course, a seasoned champion in DRS. Mr. Consistency. 1 DNF or 2 in about 100 odd races. Ridiculous consistency. And he's not slow either. Always up there. Battling. Kong is closing in. Is he going to make a dive up the inside? No, he is not. But if he can stay that close once DRS opens, he's got half a chance. Swanton will hope to get away before that DRS is enabled. And 50 trying to cling on to coattails and take advantage of any mistakes. We saw Smug and Sloth come to contact in Miami. Even with just 3 drivers on track, it's always possible. Kong trying to stay within that second of Swanton. At the moment he's doing so. Kong definitely has the wings set for max speed, as look at the amount he's catching up, even without the DRS down that straight. And that could be a weapon he tries to utilise when the DRS does open. Kong sets the fastest lap of the race. He's in this one. He really is. DRS is now enabled. And Kong is within a couple of tenths of Swanton. The favourite perhaps not going to have it all his own way in this semi-final. Could have a battle on his hands here. Should Kong win, of course, it'll go to a winner-takes-all in Miami. And should Kong win, of course, he would also have pole position for that winner-takes-all in Miami. So it can all change very quickly in this format. Half a second down as they come to the straight. Now watch as he closes the gap. With DRS this time. But he's not close enough to make that dive up the inside on this occasion. We saw Sloth make the dive in the Mercedes on Smug. Swanton, fastest lap of the race once again. And then Sloth very respectfully left Smug an awful lot of room to retake him. Let's see what happens here between these two. Of course, should they take each other off, 50 Gent will be only too happy to pick up the pieces and take the win. Can King Kong get close enough to make the extra straight line speed count? This is the question. He's got the rest of this lap and one more to try and do it. It's going to be too far back, I think, down the straight this time. Swanton keeping him at bay. Swanton keeping him at bay at the moment. Just pulled out a little bit more pace when he needed it, did Swanton. As they hit the line and start the final lap of the race.
Meet Darren. Darren never used to like the motorway. Then one day, he discovered a better way. Now Darren never hogs the middle lane and always keeps at least 2 seconds from the vehicle in front, reducing congestion, collisions and transforming his journey. Take it away, Darren.
What a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. Say it again now.
Little changes change everything. National Highways.
This is you on your first day as a teacher. This is a class you'll inspire. This is a lesson you'll learn from her and them.
And this is the day we forget.
These are all the lives you'll shape. This is the one you'll shape the most. Search Get Into Teaching.
Because Swanton has increased the gap. And even with the DRS, he's not getting anywhere near. Swanton then towards the last corner. Runs a little wide but wins. Swanton takes the win. from King Kong and 50 Gent. Swanson also with the fastest lap, so he's on to match Collins' feat of the perfect treble. Not sure about the times, but we'll be told about that at the end. But Swanson now has all but qualified. He is through unless he DNFs in Miami. Mr. Pickle is in the chat. Trying to angle for a move to Pro-Am, I think. And Senna is taking his admiration for Swanson a little bit too far in the chat, in my opinion. As much as I love the bald genius, he's not getting a picture next to my bed. So to Miami. Swanson just needs to keep it on the road, finish, and he is in the final. He'll be looking to beat Collins' time and equal his match treble feat of 3 wins and 3 fastest laps. And Joker now accusing Senna of a little bit of disloyalty, perhaps. Do me a favour, chaps, while you are in the chat. Go and follow the link I'm about to post. And follow me over on Kick, if you please. Because I'm trying to get the follower numbers up on Kick. And then I'll get rid of the adverts, I promise. So please do that if you're in the chat. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. As we're ready now for the final race of today's stream. And we will end knowing what our order will be on the grid for the grand final next Tuesday at 8 PM. And maybe Smug or Swanson will be able to come in the chat and tell us what the races will be as well. Then do join me again in a little while, after a 10-minute break or so, where we're going to be doing some Fortnite and finishing some last-minute quests as the season comes to an end. My eyes started watering for some reason.
Red heart, red heart.
One more race to go. Sorry, Megs, I know you're waiting. And confirmation as well that we're all off. We're all off to Baker's meet up in Liverpool in June. Another little family adventure because we're all going now.
Mum told me to stop being impatient.
Well, that's my fault because I did say 9 o'clock. That's my fault. Anyway, here we go. 5 lights, the final race of the stream. Can Swanton do it? 5 lights go out. Bit of a pause and away we go. And King Kong is on the inside but isn't going to make a move. Again, with DRS, especially with the back straight, it might be more difficult to defend this time. Especially if King Kong is, again, going to run max speed on the straights. It's not quite a 0-0 track like Monza, but the max speed can certainly help through this sector and down that big straight on this circuit around the Hard Rock Stadium, home of the Dolphins. Can Kong get a slipstream? He's closing the gap, but is he closing it enough to go for a dive? He had a look. But he thought better of it this early stage. Swanton fastest lap off the grid has maintained the lead and almost a repeat of what we saw with Smug and Sloth. Down there in turns 1 and 2. As King Kong came very close to running into the back there of Swanton. Can he get a bit of slipstreaming going now? It looks like he can. He's gone for the outside. Side by side. Kong on the outside, Swanton on the inside. They go in the corner together. And Swanton and Kong are both coming through. And Swanton manages to defend. Great racing between the two of them. And good respect shown as well. They left each other room there. Kong's going for some more slipstream now. Comes to the outside again. And this time, I think he's got it. He's into the lead. Swanton might dive it up his inside. No, he doesn't. Not this time. So Kong takes the lead of the race. And Kong sets the fastest lap of the race. Of course, it's not going to be enough to send him through unless Swanton was to DNF. But I'm sure he'll love to get a race win under his belt and stop Swanton emulating Colin's feat from earlier on. At the moment, he's on the way to doing that. But Swanton will not be giving up as he remains right on the tail and with DRS as well. And he's going to go up the inside and retake the lead of the race. So Swanton retakes the lead. Perversely, this battle might actually help him. But because he's going to get DRS to speed himself up here and there if they continue to swap places. This time he's got over half a second. And similar to China, I think that's going to just be too long a gap for King Kong to make any kind of attempt. It is. And Swanton retakes the fastest lap of the race as well. Hello to Georgie in the chat. We will be on Fortnite soon. I'm going to end stream, have about 10-minute break, and then be coming back on stream on Fortnite once I've amended all my tags on Twitch and Kick that I need to do. And then you'll be delighted to hear I've got weekly quests to finish.
How are you today?
I'm pretty good. Actually bothered my arse to go into uni today, unlike yesterday. Went for lunch with Stacey and Megs. Here goes King Kong up the inside. He doesn't quite make the move there, but he's close enough in that perhaps he'll be able to make it down the back straight. Lap 4 of 5. Can Kong get it now? Can Kong get it now with DRS? He's over half a second back, so he might not. Don't think he's going to be able to do it here. So he's going to go on to the last lap. Again,
face with tears of joy.
Needing to pull something out of the bag. Swanson's done a good job defending on during this race, but of course he'll have one eye on his time as well.
Hello.
Kong took that corner really well and cut some time out of Swanton. This race is not over by a long shot. And Kong's got DRS. And he's going to go for the outside line. Swanton defending. And defending well. Kong's got to try and keep it close through this slow section and onto that back straight. But I think he lost a bit of time going over the curb there. It's about half a second. It's going to be too much, I think. He's going to have not enough left. And Swanton comes round the last corner to the line and wins from King Kong and 50 Gent. So it is 3 from 3, and I think he got 3 fastest laps as well. Swanton joins Joker, Syme and Colin, but where will he be on the grid? We will await in the chat some details. He did get the maximum. But has he done enough to take that pole from Colin? We had the times further up in the chat. $22.34 for Colin, $22.39 for Syme, and $22.40 for Joker. I'm going to just stay on for a couple of minutes to see if someone is going to post Swanton's total time. And then from there, we will know the grid order for next week. And if someone wants to tell us the races for next week, even better. But we'll leave that to those in charge, i.e. Smug and Swanton. So I'll just keep an eye on the chat for another minute or two. Kong certainly pushed Swanton all the way there. Now, if Swanton or Smug are listening, please do get in the chat and give us some final info. Not sure if we have the final times. Anything happening? Not sure. Looks like I'll have to tune in next week to find out. Brazil next week for the DRS Monday race, I can tell you that. Grid for the final is confirmed, says Swanton. 1, Colin. 2, Syme. 3, Joker. And 4, Swanton. There you go. Join me next Tuesday, where I'll be taking you through the grand final of this DRS Cup competition. Tracks are also confirmed. Wait a minute, I'm not leaving you yet. Singapore. In the wet. Singapore in the wet. Monza. And Brazil. Singapore in the wet, Monza and Brazil. 4 finalists. Colin, Syme, Joker, Swanton. 1 cup winner. Who's it going to be? Join us next Tuesday from 8 PM to find out. Also, next Monday, Blimey Mondays has a week off, but DRS is in Brazil for round 8 of 12 of the season. 2 weeks' time for Suzuka for Blimey Monday, the last race of the season. The new game's coming soon. The new Fortnite season's coming soon. Join me in 15 minutes for Fortnite where I'm going to be finishing quests and Megs, George and Stacey are going to be shouting at me, or a mixture of whoever that is. Full wets in Singapore. Is going to be